decision. I thank you.
One of the issues that we discussed with the ambassador this morning was on the issue of the visas. That shouldn't be a problem. Tomorrow we can process that, and the committee will be able to go and get further information.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Following your communication, specifically regarding heckling in this house, I'm thanking you for that communication, because we come into this house as representatives of people. The views we express here are not necessarily our views, but those of people we represent. So when I'm expressing views of my representative, I mean my constituents, and then somebody shuts me down, you're actually shutting down the views of the people we represent. So I want to thank you, but going forward, Madam Speaker, I want you to be strong on people who try to shut us down because of the opinions that we hold and like exactly what they're doing. I pray that you become strong on that, so that this habit of uncivilization gets, yes, exactly what I'm trying to say is what they're doing. Heckling is
honorable members, respect the person speaking.
Exactly. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you for
And
that
indeed,
opportunity.
it is uncivilization. You're being uncivilized. How can you echo a speaker? How? Not Anita. Enos, are you done? Honorable Dorcas. Honorable Dorcas. There was an issue, of course, you know very well that you're supposed to report back within 45 days. When you got the challenge of the visas and whatever, you ought to have come back to the house formally and report to the house that you have this challenge and seek for an extension. Why didn't you do that?
Right, Honorable Speaker, I thank you. It is something that we are working on. However, I've seen my Vice Chair has already walked in. I request her to give that update. Thank you.
Honorable Sarah.
Right, Honorable Speaker. It's true we're denied visas to go and do benchmarking in Saudi Arabia, as my member said, but we are going to report back to the House.
Honorable Sarah, I want to refer you to Rule 3010.
Honorable Speaker, we
30,
apologize as a committee.
Rule 3010 defines how many days you're supposed to report back.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And thank you for your guidance, Honorable Speaker. We apologize as a committee for not reporting back on time. And for the issue of benchmarking, we are looking around to see which country we can go to get the best practices.
Honorable, we
Thank you so much,
are talking about Saudi Arabia. On how our, where is the shadow? Who is the shadow? It's not in. We are talking about Saudi Arabia, how the people have been mistreated in Saudi, the presumption of mistreatment. That's what we're talking about. But maybe because she was not in, she had not gotten the information well. But what we can do, put it formally in writing to the House, seeking for an extension of time, and that would help you. Yes, Dan?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I wanted to give my little contribution about this issue of externalization of labor and the committees are failure to travel. Right Honorable Speaker, the biggest challenge with externalization and the challenges that our children face, that with us here. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg if we can lift the veil on who these exporters are. Right Honorable Speaker, I have seen scenarios where someone dies in Saudi Arabia and later on to discover, or in any other country of where they export, later on to discover that the company that exported was not allowed to export. And it becomes very difficult to follow up on that particular person. And you wonder where the licensing group, where the regulators, and every time, Right Honorable Speaker, we cry about this and it worsens. And that only explains to you, Right Honorable Speaker, in this house, that the person doing it is not an ordinary Ugandan. It is something that we should examine thoroughly, Right Honorable Speaker, before even we go to Saudi Arabia, the infection starts with us. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Procedure, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, Chair, as you do your investigation, as you heard, you must lift the veil. They do it in the name of a company, and what you need to do, go ahead and find who are the directors of that company. How related are they to you or to me? So that we find out whether the problem is within us or it is somewhere else. Honorable member, I know you have matters of national importance. I will not give you matter of national importance. Yes, Elijah.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I think from the interaction we're having on this matter of the externalization of labor, I think there are challenges which the committee has failed to bring to the leadership of this institution, which they should have brought to you. I want to request that, Madam Speaker, you summon the chair and the vice chair in your office. They give you a brief before even they come here to ask for the extension. I'm seeing some issues, challenges, some issues which are in administrative of nature. So let's be handled that way. Otherwise, we are going to open up for the debate again now. Yeah, that should be what should be doing when they bring the report here. Thank you, Right Honorable
If
Speaker.
it is on the issue of externalization, that one will debate it when the report comes. Leader of opposition, matters of national importance. Leader of opposition, followed by Abdallah.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I have been curiously aroused by the challenge in Masaka City, which is an emerging city, but unable to expand water provision. That have been so keen to follow up to national headquarters, why they are not able to expand water provision in the city. And when I inquired, even other cities have the same problem. And the claim by a national water is that they cannot do any expansion. Reason, government agencies are not paying their water bills. Hospitals, the APDF, police, and prisons. Right Honorable Speaker, in the budget, these are well-funded institutions, MDAs with enough money to pay these bills. They haven't paid. When I checked up close, they owe national water up to 50 billion in unpaid bills. And therefore, they are unable to service their suppliers to expand water to our communities. And certainly, we are incubating disease in these communities, Right Honorable Speaker, without clean water. Would the Minister of Finance, Right Honorable Speaker, explain to this country whether the money we supplied to these MDAs to pay for services developed legs and walked away from where it was designated? Or actually there are mischarges that we need to probe as Parliament, that we can arrest the situation ahead of time, Not Honorable Speaker. I am in possession of documents because I work with evidence on how these MDAs are reneging on their payments, Right Honorable Speaker. We need, in the presence of the Prime Minister and absence of Minister of Finance, we need a quick explanation where this money is, so that we can.
Which documents do you have?
Of course, Right Honorable Speaker, I do run a privileged office, can access all manner of documents.
No, can we have a copy of the documents? Because it may be good for all of us.
Madam Speaker, they are not nuclear weapon documents. I have a presidential communication ordering finance to pay their bills dated 17th September 2022. Probably he was privy. He is quoting bills in the range of 44 billion. My other private document quote over 60 billion. So we have a divergence, but at least he is accepting the problem. I have evidence that the UPDFs are not paying, Uganda police is not paying, Navy hospital is not paying, Alu hospital is not paying, Masaka Regional Referral is not paying, Hoima hospital is not paying. Madam Speaker, I did visit Hoima referral, a regional referral a month ago, and I'll lay a report tomorrow. The hospital didn't have water that day. They don't have money, and the hospital is even very sick itself. So I want to lay this evidence. So I don't speak of the record. I have other copies.
Thank you. Please
That
let-
finance can explain whether what we are dealing with, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Can we have an explanation to that effect on Tuesday?
Right, Honorable Speaker, we are going to look into this matter, and I'll summon the Ministry of Water to come up with a statement here after this thorough investigation.
We want a statement from finance. There's already evidence that water has
Finance.
not been paid.
Yes, Minister
finance.
of Finance, sorry. I
Yes.
was Minister of Finance.
And Hajar, between me and you, water is life. All of us need water in our places.
Right,
So
Honorable.
if you're not paying for water and now you're depriving them to provide us water, so why are we here?
Right, Honorable. Finance is going to come here with a statement on Tuesday.
We don't want a statement, we want action taken because there is a
An
letter, there is
explanation.
even an executive order from the president.
Much obliged.
Thank you. Yes, honorable members, in the VIP gallery this afternoon, I know you'd love to know the visitors we have this afternoon. In the VIP gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation from the Apostolic Nuncio. We have His Excellency, the Most Reverend Rijo Biancho, the Apostolic Nuncio. You're most welcome. We have the Reverend Father Seroka, the Secretary. You're most welcome. They have come to observe the proceedings as Parliament pays tribute that is on the order paper. The tribute that Honorable Akelo talked about yesterday. We also have our own, the Most Reverend John Baptist Adama. You're most welcome. From the Archbishop of Gulu Diocese, most welcome. Archdiocese. We have Monsignor Dr. John Baptist Kauta. Monsignor, you're most welcome. He happens to be my uncle. We have Honorable Akelo Judith Franca, most welcome. We also have Honorable Komakech, the former MP, welcome. We have a delegation from the Embassy of Italy in Uganda, and that includes His Excellency Mazanti. You're welcome. Mr. Mario Sovona, welcome. The Deputy Ambassador, the other one was Ambassador. Then Miss Stella Ahabwa, most welcome. She's the Chief of Staff. They are all here to witness our proceedings and the motion when we are paying tribute. Most welcome. This is Parliament of Uganda and your parliament. And I want to sincerely thank you for coming over to witness our proceedings and join me in welcoming them. Yes, Honorable James.
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity. And thank you, Honorable Mpuga, for bringing out this matter. Right, Honorable Speaker, you've directed the Prime Minister to come with a statement or the action point. But Madam Speaker, I want also to bring this one to your attention. Madam Speaker, you are a dedicated leader and you are steering this parliament very well to accommodate the people's needs. And we put those issues into the Appropriation Act. Madam Speaker, you did steer this parliament to appropriate, and different agencies, MDAs, got their budget according to the needs of this country. But Madam Speaker, we see all the time, we get money, other new issues come in before they fund what we appropriated in this house. Can also the Prime Minister come clearly tell us how far, because the other day, the Minister of Finance presented the budget performance, but we need to know why are the districts, for example, they have been given 11%, 0.5. We have seen other expenses made by the Minister of Finance at without consulting any like Parliament. They have become another appropriation body in the Ministry of Finance. You leave political issues where members of Parliament have put their brains to interrogate the needs of the people, but you leave them and just bring your own issues and fund them at will. Are we going to are we going to continue moving like that when the Prime Minister is there supervising that ministry?
Honorable members, we got a report on budget performance for Q1 and 2, and we referred it to the Committee of Budget, and the Committee of Budget should come and present on what is the percentage that has been given out, and the finance should give us a reason as to why they took over the power of appropriation, which is not their power anyway. So we should wait for a report from
Much obliged, Madam
the
Speaker. Thank you.
committee. Honorable Abdallah.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, under Section 207 of the Magistrates Courts Act, the jurisdiction and powers of magistrates courts to hear and determine cases and matters of civil nature in light of the value and the subject matter in dispute is as follows. The Chief Magistrate is authorized to handle a matter not beyond the subject matter, not beyond 50 million. Magistrate grade 1 is authorized to handle a case whose value cannot exceed 20 million. And magistrate grade 1 is authorized to handle a matter its value cannot exceed 500,000. Today, the High Court is grappling with cases of backlog arising out of the fact that several cases now are being filed in the High Court. Even a small plot around Wachiso, around Mokono, around Wikwe, around Impiji, you just find yourself exceeding 50 million. That has created a backlog in our judiciary. I have tried my best to reach to the Attorney General and the Secretary to the Judiciary, ensure that the Magistrates Court is amended, but they are not moving. People are cutting themselves down there because cases in court are not moving. Justice delayed is justice denied. I call upon honorable members this time and the minister, if not the Attorney General, to urgently move a bill, amend the Magistrates Courts Act before our people kill each other. I humbly pray in that regard.
Government,
Right Honorable, it is true. The Honorable member is saying that justice delayed is justice denied. I'm going to call the Attorney General to come and give us a statement on the delayed cases and the backlog that is compiling according to what is in his question.
First of all, with humility, I would like to appreciate the response of the Right Honorable Prime Minister. Of course, I wouldn't blame her for responding the way she did in absence of the Land Attorney General and the able deputy. The question at hand would rather that we get commitment either that Cabinet has discussed this gap, or if they haven't, I'd rather that my land brother would move a private member's bill and we cause even a faster amendment. I don't think the Prime Minister's response really enables this House to take action that far. It's an admission of a void and the inability to follow up. But, Right Honorable Speaker, it speaks to an issue addressed yesterday about validity of legislation and the failure to act on expired legislation in space and time. So I'm putting the House on notice that I'm going to instruct my Attorney General in the alternative to move a private member's bill to amend the Magistrates Court Act. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
yes, Honorable.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to seek your procedural guidance on the matter relating the responses that we get from our beloved ministers. Right Honorable Speaker,
You first repeat that word. Beloved, yours truly.
Yes. Right Honorable Speaker, when we bring out issues, we at times get instant answers, or we are told they will report back to the House. But it stops at reporting, Right Honorable Speaker. And even when they promise to take action, Right Honorable Speaker, nothing or little is done. What mechanism, Right Honorable Speaker, procedurally, I would seek for your guidance. What mechanism can be put in place, follow-up commitments made by our ministers to ensure that really Ugandans can benefit on the issues that we raise here as their representatives? Or else it becomes the routine that Chimosho or any other member has raised an issue, a minister has stood up and given an answer, and an ordinary Ugandan doesn't get anything. Thank you very much, Right Honorable.
Honorable members, what Honorable Abdallah raised is very, very pertinent. And when you talk about the backlog, it is rising out of all of that. I am aware there is recruitment taking place for grade 1 magistrates, chief magistrates, all that. But we need a statement from the Attorney General, and this must be given to us on Tuesday. Put it on the order paper that we need a statement from Attorney General and quote all the items that have been recorded the whole week. And as we agreed last week, that tomorrow, Thursday, we'll have one item order paper under Rule 220. That is the actions taken. Action taken on all the reports that have been laid on the floor of this House. We only have one agenda after prayers. We want actions on all what has been taken, on all the reports that have been laid. And let's look at report by report. If it means sitting here up tonight, we shall sit. Kasese? Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I raise the matter of national importance here. And
You rest.
yes, and you directed the Honorable Minister for Trade, Honorable Bahat. It was in regard to the sugar factory, the sugarcane manufacturers who were actually cheating farmers using weighing scales. You directed the Honorable
The
Minister.
sugarcane manufacturers or the sugar?
The sugar manufacturers who are actually cheating the sugar farmers. Sorry.
Honorable, you're protected. You
Thank
speak,
you.
Speak.
Right Honorable Speaker, you directed the minister to handle the matter. And the minister promised that he's going to convene a meeting between the sugarcane manufacturers and the sugarcane farmers. And up to date, the minister has not proceeded with the directive.
Honorable,
Is it therefore
There
right,
was-
right Honorable Speaker?
there was a related matter from Honorable Simbwa. And a committee was given to handle that issue. So just wait for a report from the Committee of Tourism on that matter.
I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
And that shows you that I remember your issue and it was together with the Simbwa. And it is being handled appropriately. Honorable Atkins?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I raise on a matter of national importance. Madam Speaker, on Wednesday, May 11, 2022, a government nurse from Bwera General Hospital got an appointment and got into a government ambulance belonging to the Bwera General Hospital on reference of a patient to Kirodo Hospital. Madam Speaker, in the ambulance was the attendant, the driver, the nurse, and the patient. Madam Speaker, when they reached Kibito sub-county in Bunyangabo district, the government general ambulance burst into flames. And Madam Speaker, the government nurse got burnt to death. Madam Speaker, the reason why I'm raising this is that this fellow citizen died on duty, serving and offering service to his country. The reason why I'm here, Madam Speaker, is that the government nurse, now the late, left behind 5 biological children. And as I speak right now, Madam Speaker, the children are out of school. Left a young widow with a house under construction. Madam Speaker, duty falls upon us as government. That we offer opportunity to our sons and daughters to serve their country. And a calamity or a tragedy of that nature befalls them. It is up to government to look after their families. Madam Speaker, this should not only be restricted to the Kasese person, they should actually bring on board other people, especially the nurses now that are dying while trying to save lives, especially in this Ebola tragedy, Madam Speaker. Not only that, even our policemen and policewomen that are dying on duty when merciless human beings attack them and they lose their lives. Their families end up suffering. This cannot be allowed to continue, Madam Speaker. My prayers. My prayer, Madam Speaker, is that government finds it urgent and needful for them to go and rescue the widow of the government nurse deceased, identify the 5 biological children, make a commitment to educate them to at least first degree, and also ensure that that house is completed. And Madam Speaker, not only that, same government should look into the area of compensating the families of those sons and daughters that are dying while giving or serving their country, especially under the health system and then also the security system. I beg
Thank you.
to submit, Madam
Thank
Speaker.
you so much, Honorable Atkins. Our condolences to the family that lost a nurse, and our sympathies to the children. Prime Minister.
All right, Honorable Speaker, I send condolences to the family of the nurse and the other people who were in that vehicle, in that ambulance, that also got injured, and the children who are at home trying to see how they can push on with their studies. I want to commit myself here that we are going to get in touch with the family of the late and see how we can be of hope, mainly to the children, to see how they can push on with their studies and see how we can help in other things like the construction of the house. I thank you.
Honorable Atkins, you need to get in touch with the Prime Minister and give her all the details, and so that we are able to find out what can be done. Margaret Workers.
Yeah, thank you very much. Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I rise on a matter of national concern on the plight of the retired ambassadors and the diplomats. Right, Honorable Speaker, these are civil servants who, when they were still working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they were referred to.
Honorable Lope and Leon, we're in the house. Can you get a seat and sit?
Yeah, right, Honorable Speaker, the group I'm talking about, when they were still working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they used to be referred to as excellencies. These senior citizens who are also diplomats, they are 79 in number, who have not been getting their salaries, their retirement benefits, particularly pensions, for having to 3 months. And they are always told that they can go and check on their account. The money has been put there, deposited. When they reach there, there's nothing. But we know that these are senior citizens who have terminal illnesses, quite a number of them, and they cannot even treat themselves, which is really absurd. And when I thought about it, I also recalled in last year in March, in the Daily Monitor of 18th February, they wrote about a senior or a former police officer who cased his pension and gratuity for 37 years, and he died without getting anything. So I wonder where we are going, because these people work, those people who retired, the senior citizens, they work and put a lot in the work. Some are very passionate, but they go eventually with nothing. My prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, that the ministry concerned, and here I'm talking specifically about the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, they should come over to this August House and give us a statement as to why people are tortured even after they have worked diligently to this nation. Right Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Thank you so much. Does this go to Foreign Affairs or yourself? Public Service? There is a procedure matter here.
Madam Honorable Speaker. Madam Honorable Speaker, there are items in the budget which are statutory, which calls for direct charge. And one of them is pension and gratuity. Because while a civil servant is working, part of his or her salary is deducted monthly religiously. So, Madam Speaker, I would like to establish whether government is complying with the Appropriation Act, the Public Finance Act, or they are taking Parliament and the law that has been put in place as a ceremonial legal acts in place, but then they do different things. I'm seeking for your guidance, Madam Speaker.
Public Service?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. I want to thank the honorable member who raised the matter of ambassadors. As public service, we decentralized pensions and gratuity management across government in ministries and other agencies, including local governments. Therefore, I will expect a report from Ministry of Foreign Affairs to come to Ministry of Public Service so that we can compile the list for compensation. Thank you very much.
So you're saying you want the minister to compile a list for compensation?
Yes, yes, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Okelorien. Honorable members, don't, this is the son of a former president.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, colleagues, members of Parliament, my sincere apologies, first of all, and sympathies goes to the former ambassadors who have served this country diligently abroad, who have made representation on behalf of this government and previous governments, once serving this government. And I'm saddened to hear that there are 77 of them who have not got the entitlement after retirement from service. Whereas this is not only common within foreign affairs, but it's across the board, including other sectors. In this particular case, Madam Speaker, I want to assure you that I'm going to discuss this matter with my permanent secretary tomorrow morning, and I will ensure that we give you a report on this particular. I'll ask my colleague to give me the 77 individuals concerned, and I'll see how to follow it up with my permanent secretary and ensure that we see how to, if the money is there, ensure that they're paid as soon as possible.
Listen to the minister.
So I will definitely ensure, Madam Speaker, that I get the list of the 77. I deal with my permanent secretary, and I report to this House the status of how these former ambassadors can be paid as soon as possible. I thank you.
Thank you. I think why the minister wants to get the list from workers is for him to reconcile with what is in the ministry. Basically reconciliation. And that's why we have workers representatives here. The MP of workers is also doing her work. That's why they were elected. Honorable members, we have a motion that is being weighted by the team up, and we really need to have.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I'll be very brief. Right Honorable Speaker, the matter raised by the workers MP is not restricted to the former ambassadors. There's actually a very big problem. On the floor of this parliament, Right Honorable Speaker, you have a committee of parliament handling gratuity of former East African Community affairs as we instructed. Former employees of UPTC are demanding for their pension, including former employees of Coffee Marketing Board. It's a cancer. And Right Honorable Speaker, unless you instruct committees of parliament that are handling ministries to ask all ministries to submit unpaid pension as a matter of urgency, we shall be adjudged as having abdicated responsibility as leaders in this country to senior citizens who served this country diligently. And I want to inform colleagues, ministers on the front bench, that very soon you'll be former MPs and former ministers. And so where you are leaving a trail of incompetence in handling pension, very soon you'll be former. You'd love to leave a clean slate and a sense of justice in your work. So, Right Honorable Speaker, you need to find a way of instructing ministers to submit to relevant committees all pending pension payments for an audit by Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, there are MDAs where pension is fixed for people to earn interest and not paid on time, deliberately. Until Parliament makes an inquest and establishes the extent of abuse, you could be just treating a boil, Right Honorable Speaker. But the workers MP is bringing to light this critical issue. We need to interrogate it further. The issue that happened in public service, Right Honorable Speaker, have not gone away. Part of the base on which they laid is still in existence, and the pension is still abused, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you. Minister of Public Service, you need to give us a list of pensioners, ministry by ministry, entity by entity, department by department, and what is in arrears. And then we'll scrutinize all those in different sectoral committees. So when can we have that?
Most obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. In 1 week, we will bring a report, ma'am.
Very good, because we are starting the budget process and we need to capture it in the budget process. Bernard?
Indeed, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker,
Honorable members,
for according me this.
Bernard, this is a maiden speech. Bernard, you talk.
Yeah, thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for protection. Right Honorable Speaker, I raise on matter of national importance, which is very urgent and
First,
crucial.
tell them your name. So that's the answer captures. You tell them.
My
your
name is such as Bernard Chiria, a member of parliament representing people of Budievo County, Nakasongola district. Yes. Right Honorable Speaker,
Yes, Bernard.
Right Honorable Speaker, in my constituency, Budiebo County,
Yes.
there is urgent matter which need really to be handled. I know you are steering this parliament and you said it is pro people. Right Honorable Speaker, in the year 2019, the president, His Excellency, the president of this country, this almighty country, Pearl of Africa, came to Nakasongola and directed that let Charvanga land be degazetted for tenants. But right now, Right Honorable Speaker, the leaders, the district leaders, I'm not ashamed to say this one here, it is true, they are probing and ferrying people from other districts to this land. They are arresting the sitting tenants. Anybody who arises to show maybe there is mishandling, misdoing what, they arrest. So far, Right Honorable Speaker, eight people, they are being detained without trials for days, months, and right now I have even some police bonds here, which I beg to lay. And as I talk now, Right Honorable Speaker, all the man known as
Bernard, you read the name of the person
yes,
of the bond, then you lay.
yes, we have Semanda Moses, Sembatia Tom, Serugot Abbas, we have Sakaiwa Martini, then we have also others here. We have also again Commander Rogers, Kavaluvindu, Tumuhairwe, and others, Right Honorable Speaker. But as I talk now, Right Honorable Speaker, the old man who is between 60 to 70 years, known as Sande Kamuza, is being detained for 6 days under police custody, Nakasongola. Therefore, my humble request, Right Honorable Speaker,
The honorable
I request the Minister for Presidency come on the locus and get the real information and what is taking place on Charvanga land. I also request, because these residents petitioned the office of the Prime Minister, even the office of Minister for Presidency on 6th of October, but up to now, there is nothing is observed like response.
Thank you.
So I request that the Minister of Internal Affairs also to engage and investigate the RDC, even the police commander, the district police commander, who are being used to arrest these people day and night, and even to direct that they should stop to use the yellow car, which is moving and arresting these people because it is tarnishing the name of the ruling party that they are the one who are arresting these people. Right Honorable Speaker, also I request that the Minister for Presidency, if possible, should transfer the RDC and his deputy plus the DPC, because they are the one who are causing commotion there. I beg to submit.
Members. Bernard, Bernard, can you lay those documents? You lay the documents. Just put on table there. You're laying the documents. No,
I beg to lay, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
honorable members. Honorable members, this is a very serious matter. And the Prime Minister, you cannot have an old man of 62 years in cell for 6 days. Can you make this house is making an order that we want that man out on on police bond. Can we have the old man out on police bond today?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to congratulate my brother, Honorable Sachanzi Bernard, for his maiden speech. And it is of course, he has done very well, because whatever he has said here is very, very important. The old man is going to be released. I'm going to direct the old man to be released today on a police bond. And then, Right Honorable, other issues need to be investigated. I'm going to direct the ministries involved to make an investigation and report back to this house.
And also we need the ministries responsible to visit the locusts.
Thank you. Right Honorable, much obliged.
Honorable members, Dr. Zama. Dr. Zama. And report back to this house on Tuesday on the fate of the old man, on whether you've gone to the locusts, on what action you've taken.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise on a matter of national importance. Right Honorable Speaker, on 2nd of this month, an unfortunate incident happened in one of my sub-counties. And a police officer, registration number 73117, Omgisa Crespas, deliberately shot at a tire of a Fuso lorry that was carrying on board 12 people. The vehicle overturned, 60 people died instantly there, and 6 are admitted in hospital on critical conditions. Right Honorable Speaker, aware that the mandate of the police is to keep law and order, to protect the citizens and their properties. And the police deliberately did that. Those people who had lost their lives had their families who are dependent on them. Their families are now left without somebody who is supposed to cater for them. And those ones who are in hospital are up to date there. There is no one who is supposed to cater for their medical bills. I'm therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, requesting that the government should come out in order to compensate those ones who have lost their lives, and those ones, and also to cater for the families of those ones who lost their lives, and also to take action on the police officer who has deliberately done that has culminated to loss of many lives. I have the names of those ones who have lost their lives. I beg to read them.
No, we shall confirm them when they go to locus.
I want to lay this.
Dr. Zama, you'll give the information to the Prime Minister, and Prime Minister, we need an action.
Thank you very much. Most obliged. I
Prime
beg to
Minister?
submit.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I'll get information from the honorable colleague and we take action. Thank you.
Nyakato? Na. Asenas.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I raise on a question to the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development under Rule 42, Sub-Rule 1. I write, Honorable Speaker and members, the National Development Plan 3 commits government to establish an oil and gas incubation fund specifically to help out Ugandans, to give them loans to those local entrepreneurs, both the medium and small entrepreneurs, as a means of empowering them to compete in the oil and gas sector. My question to the minister is, when is government going to establish the oil and gas incubation fund so that Ugandans can easily compete for business opportunities in the oil and gas sector? I beg.
She comes from the oily city.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I'll cross-check and we come back.
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday next week.
And Honorable Prime Minister, as you go and visit the locals, if you find the RDC and maybe the DPs, whoever you find culpable on what is happening in Bernard's constituency, you should not just transfer them, because you'll be transferring a problem to another problem, to another district. We must take a serious action on these civil servants. This business of transferring people from one district to the other, you're transferring, you're actually infecting the whole country. Next item, members who have not presented tomorrow, kindly. I want to release the team.
Item 3, laying of papers, the local government cities regulations 2022.
Honorable members, since the creation of cities in 2020, the House has been on record demanding for regulations for operationalization of various functions and new cities. I notify the minister, and the minister is here and ready to lay on table.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, on the 28th April 2020, Parliament approved the creation of cities in Uganda in accordance with Article 179 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Section 72A of the Local Government Acts, Cap 243. Right Honorable Speaker, in order to effect the provisions of the Local Governments Act, the Minister of Local Government has prepared regulations under statutory instrument number 115 of 2022 in accordance with section 175 of the Act. In accordance with section 175(3) of the Local Government Act, a publication of the Local Government Cities Regulation 2022, statutory instrument number 115 of 2022 was made on 28th October 2022 in the Uganda Gazette. Right Honorable Speaker, I now take this honor to lay the Local Government Cities Regulation 2022, statutory instrument number 115 of 2022 before this Parliament for further action. Right Honorable Speaker, the local government cities regulations have been downloaded for the members to internalize at their own time.
They have
Right
actually been
Honorable Speaker,
uploaded.
I beg to lay.
Thank you. I am optimistic that these regulations will enable the cities to satisfactorily deliver their mandate in line with the national development aspirations. I want to thank you, and I'm going to accordingly refer these regulations to the Committee of Public Service and Local Government.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Next item.
Item 4, motion seeking leave of the House to introduce private members' bills, the Sexual Offences Bill.
Honorable Adeke. Next item.
4.2, the Capital Markets Authority Amendment Bill 2022.
Honorable members, Article 94.4B of the Constitution of Uganda, as I have always said, is a bedrock for that gives the private members to raise private members' bill. And here is, and it is your constitutional right, which equally should not be abused. And the abuse now comes in when you bring a bill and you're seeking for leave. That is a bill we send to Ministry of Finance. But when it reaches to committee level, you make alterations. We are not going to entertain that abuse or privileges. Honorable Nathan, can you proceed?
I thank you, Right Honorable, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I raise to move a motion seeking leave of Parliament to introduce a private member's bill to amend the Capital Markets Authority Act Cap 84, moved under Rules 121 and 122 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament of Uganda. Madam Speaker, whereas Article 79 of the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda empowers Parliament to make laws for peace, order, development, and good governance of Uganda, and whereas Article 94.4B of the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Rule 121 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament provide that a member has the right to move a private member's bill. Aware that Parliament enacted the Capital Markets Act, Cap 84, which established the Capital Markets Authority for the purpose of regulating the securities sector, and that Parliament subsequently amended the Capital Markets Authority Act in 2011 to provide for preparation of prospectuses and information memoranda to enable issuance of securities on exchanges, and in 2016, providing inter alia that for the Capital Markets Authority to approve prospectuses and information memoranda and to introduce financial and prudential regulations. Further aware, Madam Speaker, that Uganda, through the CMA, is a member of the International Organization of Securities Commission, IOSCO, an international body that brings together the world security regulators, and recognizing that as the global standard setter for the securities sector, concerned that the Capital Markets Authority Act in its current state poses challenges in its implementation so far as it separates the power of approval after documents, including prospectuses and information memoranda, which is granted to the Capital Markets Authority as a regulator, from the power of exchanges to conduct scrutiny, to certify compliance, or prospectuses to issue and list securities, yet all powers relate to prospectuses, hence has had the effect of entrenching division in the listing approval powers and consequently created bureaucratic challenges amongst players in the market. I Right Honorable further concerned that in 2016 amendment expanded, the 2016 amendment expanded the CMA powers into prudential regulations, which power are akin to those of the central bank in the banking sector, without regard to the IOSCO requirement to restrict such regulation by a capital markets regulator with the justification of the specific risk to be mitigated. Moreover, the conduct of regulated entities has never been given a central focus in the regulation of the securities markets. Noting that the Capital Markets Authority Act creates confusion in the mandate of the Capital Markets Authority by granting authority the power to make regulations providing for the fees to be charged for the regulated activities in the capital markets. Yet the Act does not make provision for regulated activities, but provides for approved and regulated persons. Recognizing that Uganda, as a member of the International Organization of Securities Commissions, IOSCO, has an obligation to incorporate the IOSCO objectives and principles of security regulation into its legal framework that governs the capital markets industry, convinced that there is urgent need to amend the Capital Markets Authority Act to clearly provide for the functions of the Capital Markets Authority to regulate the conduct of approved persons as opposed to regulating products, activities, which is the current practice. Incorporate IOSCO objectives and principles of securities regulation into the Capital Market Authority, designate unapproved stock exchange as a listing authority, make provision for a single entity to scrutinize, certify, and approve prospectuses. Now therefore be resolved that Parliament grants me leave to introduce a private member's bill to amend the Capital Markets Authority Act, a draft of which is attached here and I'm laying on the table, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Nathan Igeme. Is the motion seconded? Seconded by Honorable Olanya, Gilbert, Aogon, Ivanda, Rose, Apea, New Year. Abe, Akamba, by the whole house. Would you still love to speak about your motion or you have spoken? Can I give a seconder? Seconder? Done.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
1 minute.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I raised second the motion, and clearly the mover articulated the major issues that we hope will be brought out in the amendment. But majorly the spirit is to reduce on the restrictions and open capital markets so as to attract many players, since it is a growing sector in our economy, and aware that many other businesses are going down. This is one of the safest areas of investment, and it would be in the interest of many Ugandans to get the opportunity to be players in this part of the economy, but also to participate without restrictions or limiting it to a few players. And we hope at the end of the amendment, those restrictions will be cured. I beg to second the
Thank
motion.
you.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Lanya.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to appreciate my colleague for this very important private members bill. Right Honourable Speaker, as the country, we depend majorly on business, and capital markets is so paramount for Ugandans. Looking at this, Right Honourable Speaker, and looking at the mood of the House, I would like to move, Right Honourable Speaker, that you put the questions, that the leaves be given to my colleague to process his bill so that it becomes the act of Parliament for the betterment of this country. I beg to move, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honorable members, I put a question that this House grants leave to Honorable Igeme Nathan Naveta to introduce the Capital Markets Authority Amendments Bill 2022. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, I direct the clerk to ensure that all the necessary assistance is granted to Nathan, and so that he can bring his bill for the first reading. Thank you so much, Nathan. Next item.
Item 5, Bill's second reading, the National Legal Aid Bill 2022.
Honorable members, the National Legal Aid Bill dates back to 10th Parliament. with granting leave to Honorable Komakech, who is just seated up there. Then the MP, he was then the MP of Gulu Municipality, and that was on 24th. And on 24th September 2020, to introduce the National Legal Aid Bill. The bill, however, lapsed with the 10th Parliament and was reintroduced in the 11th Parliament by Honorable Aogon Silas, Kumi Municipality on 28th September 2022. It has come to our knowledge and to our notice that the certificate of financial implication was issued for the bill. A copy of the bill that was used to enlist the certificate varies from the copy that was actually laid for the first reading. The point of variation have a financial implication, especially under section 25, especially section 25G on the appropriation by Parliament as a source of funding for legal aid services. In effect, the grounds for issuance of the certificate of financial implication, in this view, I guide as follows. In introducing a private member's bill, the copy of the bill used for seeking a certificate of financial implication should be the same as that is tabled for first reading. 2, proposals for amendment to the bill can only be done at committee level and during the second reading. 3, it is irregular for us to alter the content of the bill, which of course you know amounts to abuse of our rights as provided for us by the law under Article 94(4)(b). And of course that can lead executive from giving you a certificate illegally. In light of that, I will stand over this bill and we'll have a harmonization meeting. We had a meeting today with the acting chairman of the committee. Maybe do you want to report what we agreed?
I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, just to confirm that we had a consultative meeting this afternoon, and we agreed that we stand over this bill until we have had consultations and reconciliation with the Office of the Attorney General. I so report.
Thank you so much. Next item.
Item 6.
We are going to harmonize and bring back the bill once it is harmonized. We are not throwing the bill. And maybe in the public gallery this afternoon, I have a delegation from legal aid service providers. And this is Honorable Komakech, who moved the bill in the 10th Parliament. Then there is Dr. Sylvia Namubiru. You're most welcome. Mr. Kwalinga Moses. Welcome. Ms. Oriam Sandra. Welcome. Ms. Kadu Maria. Welcome. Ms. Oliver. Welcome. They had come to observe the debate on this bill, but don't lose hope. We are going to harmonize and come back to the House on this bill.
Right, Honorable Speaker, the first thing that I need to say is to appreciate you, because for the first time, this bill has seen this level.
And I had a lot of hope that it was going to be passed this afternoon. But I know the journey can be rough, but I know how to tow the journey carefully. And with your support, I know how you have supported us. Indeed, this bill will see the light of the day. It is very common for the Office of the Attorney General to find ways of maneuvering discomfort to the journey of such bills. But I want to believe this bill is for the people of Uganda. And this is meant to be their Christmas gift. And therefore, colleagues, pray with me. It will see the light of the day.
Honorable members, will bring the bill will be in this house once we harmonize.
My only prayer, Madam Speaker.
The bill will be in this house once we harmonize. And I don't want, Attorney General did not advise me on anything. I read the bill myself. I saw what was there, and those are my observations. And the fact that I have supported you, I will still support the Ugandans on this bill. And I want to tell you the Christmas gift that the Ugandans are going to get is the National Health Insurance Bill, which is going to come in 2 weeks' time. It will be on in this house. Next item, Honorable. I know my brother. Okay.
Just praying that, Madam.
There's a procedural matter. There's a procedural matter.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, Sairo is my great friend. And I know this has been bothering him. But for purposes of harmonization and team support, and the Speaker's ruled, through you as a friend, I request that we give the Speaker time to harmonize everything. She will report. As a brother.
Thank you so much, honorable members. I am saying this is not for debate. I know. You're even lucky that it has reached this level. It had never reached this level. Now you know you're about to cross the river. You're going to cross the river. Thank you. Next item.
Item 6, motion for a resolution of Parliament to pay tribute to the Venerable Giuseppe Ambrosoli, a professed member of the Comboni Missionaries of the Heart of Jesus, medical doctor, philanthropist, and educator, on the auspicious occasion of his beatification.
Honorable members, as you may be aware, the beatification of Father Ambrosoli is slated for 20th November 2022 at Kalong Catholic Mission in Agago. Agago is represented by Honorable Okot and the Minister of, and then there is Lagen David and the Minister of, and the Minister of Economic Monitoring, Dr. Ambrosoli, a Catholic missionary who came to Uganda in 1956, was a founder of Kalong Hospital. I grew up hearing about Kalong Hospital, and today I'm happy to see the real founder. It has 350 beds. It's a health facility that serves over 60,000 people every year from all over the whole country. It is not only limited to Agago. He died in 1987 and is said to be made a saint in line with the Catholic tradition. And this is the team that is here, that is representing the Pope on that function. This bipartisan motion seeks to pay tribute to the missionary the legendary missionary who contributed and has contributed towards humanity in the health sector, in everything that you can talk of in that area. Amidst all what was happening in northern Uganda, the rebels, everything, this missionary was there and became part of the community in that area. I therefore invite the Prime Minister to move the motion.
Right Honorable Speaker. Motion for resolution of Parliament to pay tribute on the occasion of the beatification of the Venerable Bishop Ambrosoli, a professed member of the Combone Missionaries of the Heart of Jesus, medical doctor, philanthropist, and educator. This motion is being moved under Rule 56 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. Whereas Parliament of Uganda received with pleasure the decision of the Holy Father, Pope Francis, to bestow the right of beatification into the Venerable Bishop Ambrosoli on the 20th November 2022 in Kalongo, Gulu Archdiocese. Aware that the process of canonizing Father Bishop Ambrosoli as a saint commenced in 1999, and on 17th December 2015, the Holy Father, Pope Francis, bestowed into Father Bishop Ambrosoli the right of venerable following the confirmation of his life of heroic virtue. Recalling that on 20th November 2019, a miracle was attributed to Venerable Bishop Ambrosoli, commencing the process for the beatification of the Venerable Bishop Ambrosoli, which process will result in this canonization. Appreciating that the Venerable Bishop Ambrosoli lived a life of distinction and immemorable, and eventually served the people of Uganda, especially those in northern Uganda, through serving as a parish priest for Kalongo Parish in the Archdiocese of Gulu, where he paid special attention to the suffering of the people, guided by his motto, God is love, and I'm his servant to the suffering people. Revolutionizing the care for leprosy patients through admitting leprosy patients to the same hospital as other patients instead of confining them to the often neglected and poorly managed leprosarium, thereby combating the stigma that existed in Uganda's society against lepers. Establishing St. Mary's Midwifery Training School in Kalongo, Agago district to provide trained medical practitioners in order to enhance the care of patients in Uganda, and establishing a clinic for lepers at Kalongo in present-day Agago district, which is transformed into a hospital recently renamed the Dr. Ambrosoli Memorial Hospital, a 350-bed facility that treats nearly 60,000 patients every year. Firmly convinced that the Venerable Bishop Ambrosoli exalted unique compassion and kindness in caring for the sick, exhibited charity, selflessness, humility, wisdom, and love for God, and championed the growth of the Catholic Church in Uganda. Cognizant that the Venerable Ambrosoli died on 27th March 1987 at the Combon Mission in Lira. Now, therefore, be it resolved by this Parliament that Parliament collectively congratulates the people of Uganda, the Combon missionaries of the Heart of Jesus, and the entire Catholic Church in Uganda on the auspicious occasion of the beatification of the Venerable Ambrosoli, slated for the 20th November 2022 in Kalongo, Gulu Archdiocese. Parliament takes cognizance of the immense contribution of the Venerable Ambrosoli for his devotion to duty and immense contribution to the development of Uganda. I beg to move.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister. Is the motion seconded? Seconded by Lagen, by Okot, by Akelo, by Akelo Riemo, Honorable Minister, by by Honorable Minister of Energy, by the whole House, including LOP. By the whole House, including LOP, the Saba Christo, and the chairman of the Muslim caucus. Thank you. The whole House has supported the motion. Madam Prime Minister, would you love to speak a little bit to your motion?
Right Honorable Speaker.
Ambrosoli. Ambrosoli.
You know, if that is a Chisoga way of calling that name.
Honorable
Right.
members,
Right,
you
Honorable.
leave the Prime Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, my justification for the resolution of this of Parliament to pay tribute to this powerful father, Pope Francis issued a concession to the Archdiocese of Gulu to conduct the beatification of Father Ambrosoli on 20th November 2022 at Kalongo Catholic Mission in Agago District. This will be the third blessed after Jido, Ira, and Daudi Okelo, who are the blessed martyrs in Igulu Archdiocese. Right Honorable Speaker, beatification under the Catholic Church is a procedure of determining and proclaiming that a deceased person is one of the blessed or has gained the second degree of holiness, and is a stage in the process of canonizing into sainthood. Venerable Father Ambrosoli was a Roman Catholic priest and a member of the Combon missionaries. He was born on the 25th of July, 1923 at Ronago, that is in Como, northern Italy. After a serene childhood and adolescence, he enrolled in the Faculty of Medicine in the University of Milan. After having been awarded his degree in medicine, he presented himself as a Combon missionaries to become a missionary priest, proclaiming simple yet profound words. God is love. They are suffering neighbors, and I'm their servant. Later on, he went to London for a course in tropical medicine and returned to Italy, where he joined the Comboni's novitiate of Gozana, that is Novara. Right Honorable Speaker, on the 9th of September 1953, Gus became a Combon missionary by undertaking his first vows. He studied theology and was ordained priest on the 17th of December, 1955 by Archbishop Giovan Battista Montini, later Pope Saint Paul VI. At 33 years of age, on 1st February 1956, Father Gus left for Gulu in northern Uganda. Thereafter, he went to Kalongo and founded a hospital that gained a reputation of excellence for almost 31 years. At the Kalongo Hospital, he also founded St. Mary's Midwifery School, where local women received training as midwives. In 1972, he also incorporated the leprosy center in the mission of Alito and Morulem for victims of Hossen's disease in the hospital's outreach program. The hospital, designed for the neediest people in a rural area, became famous for its leading medical practitioner and for the volunteer doctors and religious sisters who assisted him. So not only from all over Uganda, but also from neighboring countries such as Kenya, Tanzania, Sudan, and even as far away as India, people asked to be treated there. In 1963, he was awarded the Doctor's Mission Prize by the Carlo Eber Foundation, and in 1985, the Samuel Pose Prize, a life for medicine from the Order of Doctors in Milan. Due to his skill as a surgeon, he was asked to serve in the country's main teaching hospital, Mulago, that is in Kampala, but he preferred to remain in Kalongo. Right Honorable Speaker, on the 13th of February 1987, in the midst of the insurgency campaign being waged by the Lord's Resistance Army, Father Guspu was obliged by the authorities to evacuate the hospital of Kalongo, placing his already precarious health and enormous strain. On the 27th of March, 1987, he died in Lida at 3:30 p.m. 44 days after having been forced to leave Kalongo and after having brought all the personnel of the hospital to safety. On the 17th of December, 2015, Pope Francis named Father Guspu Ambrosoli as Venerable of the Catholic Church due to his heroic virtue. Right Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, Venerable Father Guspu Ambrosoli's professionalism, kindness, infinite patience, extraordinary availability, and his spiritual transparency attracted crowds of patients to him. These attributes made him a true man of God. Indeed, his legacy will continue to be a guiding light to other servants of God. Father Guspu Ambrosoli will always be remembered in Uganda as the doctor of charity. May Venerable Father Guspu Ambrosoli intervene for Uganda. I beg to submit.
Thank you so much. In remembrance of Father Ambrosoli, may we first raise and observe a moment of silence.
May his legacy live on.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister, and indeed in the Catholic Church, this is the first of its kind, and we are proud about it. And we want to thank the Holy Father for that. And indeed, God is love. And as we debate I want you to ask yourself, are you a servant of your neighbors? Ask yourself that. Are you a servant of your neighbors? Is there anything that you've learned? Is there anything that you've learned from the late father? Members, now I open the debate. We shall start with the leader of opposition. He's seconding. Then we debate, and leader of opposition will second, the Muslim will second, and then we shall have an Anglican second.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'd like to join my honorable sister and Right Honorable Prime Minister in paying tribute to the Reverend Father Guspe Ambrosoli, the priest in the order of the Combined Missionaries of the Heart of Christ. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, we are a honored house. It happens once in your lifetime as a leader in this country that God gives you an opportunity to speak about his servant. So I am exceedingly humbled to be invited to second this motion. And I know that at the end of the day, the voice of the people is the voice of God. Vox Dei, Vox Populi, so we say. Right Honorable Speaker, Father Guspe was God's gift to Uganda. And in his veneration, our nation once again is privileged to be highlighted as a true home of faith. On this occasion of his veneration, Right Honorable Speaker, this humble man of God gives us an opportunity to celebrate not just the opportunity for his journey to sainthood, but most importantly, his humble service as a priest. We join the rest of humanity to celebrate the gift of priesthood in the church, and also thank God for his priests as messengers, including Father Ambrosoli, for helping us, the faithful, share in the priesthood of Christ. A job he did by administering sacraments, in particular, baptism. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, we celebrate Father Guspe, who sowed this seed of faith. He multitasked, as we've been advised, as a surgeon, a midwife, a radiologist, and a pediatrician. He also worked alternately as a manual laborer. He attracted a lot of funding to the community to enable health services to be delivered to the people of northern Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, unfortunately, the sort of health services in the region he loved has not yet reached the level I'm sure he much aspired and desired to see. Aware that veneration is not an end in itself, but a journey to sainthood, we too celebrate this new prince of the church, who is joining a glowing list of Ugandan faithful, whom we celebrate as saints and blessed. like the whole Uganda matters. With such humility, right, Honorable Speaker, and dedicated service towards God and his people, I'm aware from the media that over 300 people are trekking from Gulu to attend his veneration, which is really most humbling, an admission that we bow to this true servant of God. Right, Honorable Speaker, like I observed, Father Ambrosoli is a gift not only to the people of the Archdiocese of Gulu, but also to the nation and the whole world, because he served with dedication, professionalism, and love, can only join in the chorus of his veneration. We urge the people of Uganda to emulate the life of this great missionary priest in serving God and neighbor, and grant that we get the grace to grow in faith. And in memory of this great gift of God humanity, right, Honorable Speaker, the only physical epitaph we can erect in his memory is to pay attention to the issues that held dear, such as justice and care for the wretched of the world. But, Honorable Speaker, in that tribute and epitaph, would take care of the poor that are being chased off their land, the poor being denied medical services, persecution of citizens because of political differences, sowing seeds of divisionism through ethnicity and other social vices, right, Honorable Speaker. Spoken about as a man with immense spiritual transparency, as political leaders, we are invited to shed off political opaqueness and be as transparent and avoid making decisions of the nature that distances us from being men and women that the world will remember with faith that we served for God and the country. We pray, right, Honorable Speaker, that the Heavenly Father will allow us through in remembrance of his venerable servant to continue receiving his blessings and exhibit the same, while praying that the final canonization of his humble servant does happen in our lifetime as an eternal lesson to the criticality of service to God and humanity. I thank you once again, Right Honorable Speaker, for enabling this motion, which is historical in our time, and pray that we all get humbled in our duty to serve without expecting return to self. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable Law, and for that enriching message. Can I, Saba Chris, you're going to speak, but can I have the Muslim speak first?
Thank you very much, Patron Speaker. Patron Speaker, I want to join the Prime Minister and the Leader of Opposition in supporting the motion regarding the beatification of Venerable Father Ambrosoli. Patron Speaker, going through the motion and the justification, 3 things became so clear about the work of Father Ambrosoli. 1, he chose simplicity at the expense of opulence. The fact that he was given an opportunity to serve in Mulago,
and he declined and decided to serve the countryside. He left the trappings of pomp and ostentation in Europe to come and serve in our country. That simplicity is something that we should emulate. Second, Right Honourable Speaker, Venerable Father Ambrosoli chose to offer a service that is very critical and essential in our country, health. And in justifying the motion, Right Honourable Speaker, the health services was providing attracted patients outside the country. We've been informed that people would come from as far as India, Nairobi, and Sudan to get treatment here. Ironically, as we speak now, we are leaving to go to India and Nairobi for treatment. What an irony. Do we learn anything from that experience? Because he excelled as an individual and the services he offered were excellent, they were attracting people to come to our country. As the Prime Minister was justifying the motion, did she pick any lesson from that? Can we learn from the services of Father Ambrosoli? Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, as we support this motion, as a country, we need to apologize to the Catholic community. We need to apologize to the family of Venerable Father Ambrosoli, because like it or not, his last days were not the best. His last days were not the best. It is on record. He was arrested, humiliated, and by the time he died, he was definitely under a lot of stress. As a country, we need to say sorry. Why was he put under house arrest? The drugs he had bought for his hospital were destroyed. He was made, him and his team were made to lie on the ground. And few months, actually exactly 2 months after that experience, he passed on. We need to say sorry. So I think this motion would be incomplete if we didn't add a component of apologizing to the community for the humiliation we subjected Venerable to. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Haji. Some of us are unlucky that we were not there at that time. We could not see the simulation. But on behalf of the country and behalf of everybody, we are sorry for whatever could have happened. Saba Christo.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to speak for this very, very important motion, very dear to my heart. And as I speak, Madam Speaker, I will request through you that the ICT people display a very important picture. And if possible, we leave this picture there for the members to see. We are talking about Venerable Gusipe Ambrosoli. Many of us don't know how he looks like or what he looked like. And that is the great man. And every time I see that picture, it summarizes everything that I would have wanted in a medical doctor. It summarizes everything that I would have wanted our health facilities, the care, the love that this great man of God gave. And if you can't interpret this picture well, then perhaps we can talk more about this. And I will kindly ask that we leave this picture on for some time, maybe as we reflect as a country. Madam Speaker, allow me also add my voice in thanking His Holiness Pope Francis II, Pope Francis, my sincere apologies, for really, really thinking about this and making this the first of its kind in Uganda. Who am I to be in this August house to speak about a great man, first of its kind in the country? I know many others will come. And Madam Speaker, I want to congratulate you
because you're presiding over a house that is paying tribute to a great man. Congratulations. Madam Speaker, allow me just highlight a few things about this great servant. One, humility is already been talked about. In 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 5 to 7, it talks about humility. And in all, clothe yourself with humility in all your dealings with one another. For God opposes the proud, but bestows favor on the humble. And in his own words, these were his words. Without humility, a person cannot make a step forward. With pride, one goes only backward, and such a person is only able to do evil. A person by herself is only an echo of God's gifts. These were his words. It was not only his professionalism that attracted people that you have heard from India, from South Sudan, from Ethiopia. It was not just the professionalism that attracted the crowds that we are talking about, but his manner, his kind manner, his goodness, his infinite patience, his extraordinary ability, and his spiritual transparency that made him the man that he is, that we are celebrating today. Madam Speaker, I know many people think that spirituality and science can never match and do not come together. Venerable Giuseppe, by the way, Giuseppe, I'm told, means Joseph. So if it is hard to pronounce that, just say Joseph Ambrosoli. He just made this very clear to me, that actually science is made whole in spirituality. There is no conflict. And that is why this man of God used science to defend life. He used science to make sure that life is preserved. So there is no conflict. For those who are saying that there's actually conflict. Madam Speaker, allow me to end by saying and thanking the government for the support they have so far rendered to the Central Organizing Committee. It has not been easy, but like I have always told my Archbishop there, John Baptist Odama, my former boss, I've always told him, God's project is God's project. As of yesterday, we were crying, but of now, of today, the God that we serve, the God of the breakthrough, has made the queue become shorter, and we are going to have a great celebration in Kalongo. And I say, yesterday I was telling some people, I said, there is no excuse for you not to be in Kalongo. You don't need a visa to go to Vatican. You don't need air ticket to go to Vatican. It is at our doorstep. Let's come and celebrate as Ugandans. This is our time as Ugandans. Let's come and celebrate the life that was lived well, and above all, to all the doctors who are out there, let this mind guard you. Let this mind, even as you strike, let this mind speak to your hearts that you go back and treat those poor, innocent people out there who are suffering. May his legacy live on. I say this for God and my country.
Thank you so much, Saba Christo, and we really want to thank you, government. When we are paying tribute to a great man like this, who has left a legacy, let's not put politics into it. No politics into it. Government, thank you for making this happen. Thank you for enabling the function to take place. Honorable Minister, we first start with energy, then foreign.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I come here to support the Right Honorable Prime Minister, your statement. I want to give a testimony that when I was young in Karamoja, we were hearing of a great person in a place called Kalango. You know, I'm from the south, and Kalango is here, the north, near the north. That place there. So I said, I am going one day to see these people. They say they were carrying orthopedic surgery, everything. And people were coming through our place from Kenya to go for treatment in Kalango. So one time my father fell sick when I was working in Kotido as a junior officer there in accounting. The father of Honorable Nakwang told me, if you want your father to survive, you go and call and bring him here, we take to Kalang. So I decided to go and collect my father, who was saying he was having pains in the chest pains. I took him there. When we reached there is when I saw this father. I was referred to him. He went examining the father, then made these prescriptions, went to collect the medicine. That time I was seeing that those medicine were tablets white. I didn't know the names. So they say, go and make your father swallow these 5 days. I took him back to Kotido. I stayed there. After 5 days, the father said, I'm now all right. I waited again for a short time to say, let me see if he can relapse. He didn't. And I took him back. He became okay. I cannot forget to think about this great father, Dr. Ambrosoli of Kalango. In fact, Kalango Hospital's name is synonymous with Ambrosoli. So those of you who say Kalango, the names are the same. And because of the patent issues I have and respect for this person, this is what I realize. Praise this father. Prayerful father, all the time in the hospital. If he was not even taken by force to Lango, he would not have gone. So may his canonization have God's blessing. Thank you very much.
Honorable Foreign Affairs.
Madam Speaker, colleagues, Madam Speaker, I want to be counted, and I'm glad that during my lifetime, I stand here to pay praise, respect to a great man of humanity, and one who saved my life, my mother's life, and that of my brothers and sisters, or I would not have been here today. Dr. Joseph Ambrosoli. In 1971, after the overthrow of the government of the late Obote, when Idi Amin was government, our family fled to our ancestral home in Namukora, and the Idi Amin soldiers decided to pursue us, looking for my father and looking for my mother in an effort to kill us. And after trying to seek refuge with different relatives, and different relatives being hunted down and beaten for giving us refuge, my mother eventually took a decision with us, the children, to run to seek assistance from Dr. Ambrosoli. I was then 8. I was 7. And we fled to Kalongo Hospital. And my mother went there thinking that maybe because this was a Muzungu, a white man, he might be able to help her in some way or defend her, protect her with her children, not for anything else. And when we reached there in the evening and night, Dr. Ambrosoli was in shock, and he said he had never done anything like this. And he did not know what to do for my mother and what to do for our children. And he was warned by others who were around him that he could not put the whole hospital at risk by having us in the hospital. But he came up with a brilliant idea. He decided that my mother should be a patient, and I told my mother to put on the clothes of a patient and give my mother a room on the side in the hospital. And he told us to come and stay with him in his residence. And he made us his altar boys. And he dressed up as altar boys. And soldiers came there on many occasions looking for us. I was young, naive, and would continue playing in the grounds, not knowing the dangers that we faced. And we're in that hospital for 3 months. And my mother was dressed as a patient for 3 months, due to the assistance of this beautiful gentleman, wonderful gentleman. But unfortunately, there was my mother in the process of being in the hospital, came across somebody who knew her. And when he saw my mother in this patient's dress and clothes, my mother said she was sick and she was there as a patient. This particular person with a big mouth, when she left the hospital, went and told others that she had found the wife of General Tito in the Kalongo Hospital. So word went around soon that the family of General Tito was in Kalongo Hospital, and soon the place was raided by Min soldiers. And it was miraculous, very miraculous, how we escaped that night when they were raided. Because fortunately, the soldiers went to the wrong place, and somebody informed Ambrosoli. He ran to my mother, told my mother to undress and change onto her clothes, and just walk quietly out of the hospital. And my mother did that. She came and picked us up, and we walked into the night and disappeared. This is why I am here today, because of what he did. I told this story to, as God will have his ways, I told, on Saturday I was in Gulu, and I met Monsignor Matthew Odong, just outside the hotel, Boma. And he asked me if I was going for the beatification, and I said yes. And I said, that man saved my life and that of our family. And he said, how? And I told him the story. He said, why do you keep quiet in such a story? I said, well, I don't have to tell anybody. Little did I know that today I'll have an opportunity, and God will give an opportunity to tell the world what Dr. Ambrosoli did. Dr. Ambrosoli was a great man. Young as we are, we had stories after stories after stories of the miracles he performed in saving patients from as far away as Rwanda, some from Malawi, some from Tanzania. And these are stories being told by individuals of how great this man is, what his hands could do if he started treating you. He, as we've heard here, served diligently and humbly in a very difficult circumstances. Working in Kalongo in the 70s during Idi Amin's time was not easy by any stretch of imagination. Working in Kalongo during the NRM, LRA times was not easy by any stretch of imaginations. I want to thank God. I want to thank God for giving us Dr. Ambrosoli. I want to thank God for what Ambrosoli did for all of us. did for this Uganda, not only for Catholics, Protestants, not only for Ugandans, but people across the board. I for one, I'm not
Honorable Minister,
I'm not a Catholic. I'm for one, I'm
wants
not a
to-
Catholic, I'm a Protestant, but I'm very grateful to associate myself with Dr. Ambrosoli, and maybe what Dr. Ambrosoli did in my life by saving me and making me what I am today. That's why I have a wife who is a Catholic. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, maybe you need to write a book about that. Minister of Veterans, Economic, then ours truly, Daudi. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I also want to join the Prime Minister and others who have already talked to support this motion to pay a tribute to Father Ambrosoli. Right Honorable Speaker, in the Gospel of Matthew, a man came to Jesus and told him, in fact, he knelt down first, then said, Jesus, can you treat me? Can you clean me? Can I be cleansed from that disease called leprosy? Then Jesus pressed his clean hand, touched the man, and immediately the man was cleansed, cleaned, and became safe from that disease. Right Honorable Speaker, the disease called leprosy in the Old Testament is associated as a disease for the sin. It is for the sinners. It is a curse. Even in our traditions, it's a disease where you are isolated. When you have that disease, people don't want to associate with them. But it's Jesus who brought it to light that it's not a disease for the sinners, it can be a disease for anybody. Similarly, Right Honorable Speaker, Father Ambrosoli learned from Jesus, his teachings, his actions, and continued with Jesus' mission when Jesus already left this earth by treating people, which he did not only do in Roman, but this time it was in Uganda and in northern Uganda. Right Honorable Speaker, we cannot just take this lightly. Therefore, can I just say, may the legacy of Father Ambrosoli be remembered forever and ever. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ajat. Thank you. 2 minutes, Woman MP.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, when we are talking about Venerable Father Dr. Giuseppe Ambrosoli, he demonstrated exceptional qualities of combining spirituality and science in treating illness and diseases. In doing this, my father is a living testimony. My father fell sick, he had a chest pain. Other doctors reviewed him and told him he would not live. Then they reported to Dr. Ambrosoli. He told me this testimony, that Dr. Ambrosoli came to him, reviewed him, and told him, and handled him psychologically, prepared him, but he told him, give me 3 days, I'm going for prayer retreat at the hill of Kalongo to get solution for your problem. After 3 days, Dr. Ambrosoli came back and told him, Dennis, you are going to live. You are no longer going to die. Your solution God has given to me.
And my father told me he connected some power, electric powers on him. Then the following day, he started getting improvement. And within 1 week, he left the hospital. Up to now, he has never developed chest pain again. Not only my father, when you have interaction with people of Kalongo, you get so many testimonies on how Dr. Ambrosoli treated them.
Honorable Bahati.
Madam Speaker, it's good to pay tribute to this good man who did a lot of good to humanity. Father Ambrosoli served the least in our society, as we have seen in the documentary, in the picture that was given to us by Honorable Lucy Akelo. Madam Speaker, the Holy Book, the Bible, tells us in Mark 25 that in the final judgment, the good people will be separated from the bad people. And the good people will be said, come and inherit the kingdom, because I was hungry and you fed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was in prison and you came and saw me. I was naked and you clothed me. Father Ambrosoli looked after the least in our society, because that's what is required of us as people who believe in God. I'm very grateful that the Holy Pope is considering him into sainthood. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David.
Thank you so much, Madam, for giving me the opportunity to pay my respect to Dr. Joseph Ambrosoli. Madam Speaker, let me begin by giving thanks to you for allowing the members of parliament to pay their respect. And then at the same time, Madam Speaker, I also want to congratulate and give thanks to the family of Dr. Joseph Ambrosoli for supporting him and allowing him to come to Africa to support the poor people. Madam Speaker, in Agago district, we have one of the hospital by the name Kalongo Hospital, which is named Dr. Ambrosoli Memorial Hospital. Madam Speaker, Agago district has 26 administrative units with only one health center for which is not well equipped. Madam Speaker, it is my humble prayer today, as we are celebrating and contributing with respect the support of Dr. Ambrosoli. The question I want to ask Madam Speaker, apart from the contribution, apart from the celebration, what is it that the government has in place to support the hospital that Dr. Allow me finish my point, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, since the death of Dr. Ambrosoli, the hospital in Kalongo has never remained the same. If you go to the hospital now and see the condition of the hospital, Madam Speaker, you'll be very ashamed. Madam Speaker, it is a high time many people are contributing money to support the celebration of Dr. Ambrosoli beatification. Madam Speaker, it is a high time for the government to come out openly, apart from contributing money to support the celebration. Let the government place a support to the hospital to support the vulnerable people in Agago district in northern Uganda. This will be a memorial support that will never be forgotten forever. We can not only go to celebrate the beatification of Dr. Ambrosoli for the service he has given to the people, we must leave a mark that people will remember forever when they go to the hospital. This is my humble request to the government. I beg to submit.
Honorable members, the government contribution that has been made, half of it is for development. It is going to be used for a women ward. So your question has already been answered. The money, part of it is for development of the infrastructure of the hospital, but that does not stop. I don't want you to say yes, yes alone. It does not stop you as members of parliament from contributing for the hospital. Honorable members, you really need to, we need to contribute towards it. Okot, let me finish the area MPs, then I come.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, through you, let me also say thank you for the presence of the Papal Nunci, the Archbishop of Gulu Archdiocese, His Excellency the Ambassador, and our two honorable MPs who have been here with us, Honorable Leandro, Honorable Judith. Madam Speaker, it is true that area is where I represent. That's Kalong, Agago North County. I want to extend invitation to you, my brothers and sisters in the August House. Come and we join hands in the beatifications of Dr. Ambrosoli. That is a nice place. We border Karamoja from the east, and we border Kitgum, then next to South Sudan, but still it's a good place. People are so lovely. People are welcoming. People give. So I welcome you to come. Madam Speaker, Dr. Ambrosoli was in the center of the social, economical, and religious development. Dr. Ambrosoli did a lot, and the legacy that he has left has to be propelled beyond what we have seen. When the doctor died, I was 16 years old. I knew because I've already grown up. So it is true, what transpires during those days, things have not changed. Our fathers and our uncles and our aunties who had been during those days, they were housing him as their own, to the extent that even him, it was all, excuse me to finish
Chairman,
this small statement. Just a minute.
Actually, parliamentary group.
Just a minute to conclude this. A minute.
Chairman, actually parliamentary group.
Just a minute. Thank you. Thank you so much. So in the conclusion, Dr. Ambrosoli is a hero. Dr. Ambrosoli is truly a person to follow his footsteps. And it is true, what he has left above all is for us to know Jesus Christ as our Lord and personal Savior. He is the way, the truth, and the life. And that's the best thing that he left to the people of Uganda, not only people of Uganda, but even to the whole world. I thank you for allowing us to pay our tribute to our dear Reverend Father and Doctor who showed us the way. May God bless you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I support the motion, and I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity as a country, because it is a first of its kind in the country. But above all, what we are celebrating is a life well lived. the person who discovered why he was alive. And he knew the purpose of his being alive. And above all, Right Honorable Speaker, we are all going to be dead. But what are we going to be remembered for? And this is a question that we should ask ourselves. Are we going to be saints? Are we going to be celebrated? Or some people will celebrate our death? And this is a question we have to reason today when we are talking about this great man. When I was growing up, when we were playing, what we will say is that, should I jump? And your fellow will say, don't jump. And you'll say, if I break my hand, where will you go? Kalong. Now, we are talking about a hospital whereby people were coming from India, from Kenya, and far places to Kalong in Uganda. Today, we are taking our people out of the country. What can we do for the legacy of this great man to make sure that people should come to Uganda again to get treatment in Uganda? And this is something that we need to think about as members of parliament, as government this time. If we can go back to the dream of this man to make sure that treatment can be done in Uganda, other than leaving the country to go somewhere else, then we would have done great to the great man that we are celebrating today. We pray for him and let the saints save us as a country to do better. Thank you very much.
Abe.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to join my colleagues in supporting the motion moved by the Prime Minister. Right Honorable Speaker, the theme for the beatification is God's servant to the suffering people. And it is only fit that that theme is thought through by every leader in this country. We ought to be servants of the people. Right Honorable Speaker, when you talk about beatification, some people might not know, but this is a step before sainthood. And this means Dr. Ambrosoli can intercede for us in heaven. And when you pray through him, you will be heard by God and you will receive the blessings. Therefore, people in the house today, as leaders, national leaders, we are very privileged to have this take place during our time. And today, as we leave this house, we should go when we are thinking about all the wrong things we have done for this country and repent and pick the example from Dr. Ambrosoli. Right Honorable Speaker, I describe Dr. Ambrosoli as a philanthropist, someone who loved children, loved the women. And that is why he had to establish a midwifery school. Today, when you go to hospitals, when our mothers go to give birth, some of them are slapped by fellow women. When you go to hospitals, you take your child to seek medical attention, some of the doctors will shout at them and not even pay attention to them. Today, we need to pick a leaf from Dr. Ambrosoli. And I want to thank government for ensuring this is done, and this should be a lesson to other health workers, that when you do good, the country will remember you. You may not be remembered today, but you'll always be remembered at one point to ensure that you have done the right thing. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I join colleagues in support of this motion. And allow me to thank in a special way the Right Honorable Prime Minister for moving this motion. It means a lot. Madam Speaker, from face value, when you hear the stories about Dr. Ambrosoli, Joseph, you see commitment right away. You see sacrifice, you see dedication. You see quite a lot that we appreciate. Madam Speaker, these are all related to his life of faith and his life as a doctor who was serving people. A great man, a servant of God. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank government for the contribution they made. But how I wish government takes up that project fully and work for a more comprehensive section for the women in that hospital. That would do us a great deal, Madam Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker,
when you look at our system today in the country, government is nursing a lot of rot about corruption in our system and ethical conduct with the technical people. Madam Speaker, people are driven by desire of money, but not really to serve the community. How I pray that from the life of Dr. Ambrosoli today, we learn from his good examples, and also our professionals start behaving as we are hearing about Dr. Ambrosoli. Right, Honorable Speaker, when you hear about professionals take their time to steal human organs, stealing people's kidney, they operate you without you knowing, and you realize later after months or a year even, that some parts of the body is missing like kidney. These are things that we are nursing as a country. It is my prayers that today, as we deliberate in this house, our technology. May I please conclude, Madam Speaker? It is my prayers that we learn and emulate the good examples of Dr. Joseph Ambrosoli. I pray that government takes this celebration seriously, and all of us as leaders of this country go to Kalon and join hands with the people coming from other countries, and we celebrate together. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. We passed a bill on organ transplant, and we've not yet heard of. There is a rumor that there has been stealing. We are not yet sure. It's just a hearsay, but we have a bill. We have a bill to that effect, and we shall always use that bill to ensure that there is no stealing. And as of now, it is just a hearsay. Dorcas, Samuel, I am coming this side.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'd like to join in thanking the mover of the motion, the Prime Minister, and I support the motion for Parliament to pay tribute to Father Dr. Ambrosoli for the selfless service to this nation. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, as we all know that this has left a legacy that so many of us and Ugandans out there can be able to emulate. As a representative of the people of Aleptong, I stand to testify that Dr. Ambrosoli Memorial Hospital in Kalon has been and has continued to be a go-to center, a main referral center that the people of Aleptong, when we have medical emergencies and that need referrals, we have always gone to, and they've provided excellent and quality services. And I want to thank them for taking on the legacy of Father Dr. Ambrosoli. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank also the government for the request that the honorable member from Agago has presented, that because of the current dwindling resources in the health sector, we know it has become increasingly difficult for donors to be able to prioritize. But Kalon has remained as a very great area that is providing services to the entire region of northern Uganda and even beyond. And we would like to thank the government and call upon for more support to this health center so that the hospital can continue to stand the legacy that has already started, so that it can continue to provide services, especially to the women.
Samuel.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I want to thank the Prime Minister for this motion. Madam Speaker, I was born in Kalon, and my mother had 3 C-sections. And after I was delivered, I think she was unconscious for 3 days. But I was under the care of this great man we are talking about today. I want to thank government for the contribution that they have made, but I want to ask that more should be done, because our people still go to this facility and the road network is very bad, especially from Aleptong to Kalon, from Kitgum to Kalon, from Pader to Kalon. This network to this facility should be improved so that we can save lives. I thank you.
Thank you, John Faith.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I stand to support the motion moved by the Prime Minister to pay tribute to this great man. It's a celebration of humility. It is a celebration of a life well lived. And I just want to confirm all that has been said in the words of Revelations, chapter 14, verse 13, that says, "Then I heard a voice from heaven say, write this, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Yea, says the Spirit, they will rest from their labor, for their deeds will follow them." As his deeds follow them that we are reporting and talking about now, the question is, what next of us? I submit. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Feta.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I join in thanking the Prime Minister for introducing this motion. I have two take-homes. One is humility and service above self of Dr. Ambrosoli. As a country, we have a crisis of service above self and humility. Two, my take-home is the foundation body. Ambrosoli came under the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church has done enormous in this country because the resource envelope could not do all what the public needed. The Catholic Church has been able to help in health facilities. The Catholic Church has been helping in education, in very many other facilities. I there want to thank the Catholic Church for helping government to be able to do this much. If you go to West Nile today, the schools that feature are all Catholic founded. The hospitals that help our people are Catholic founded. So the foundation body, unless it is very strong, the institution cannot stand.
Honorable members, you can't even clap for the Catholic Church.
The role the Catholic Church has played in this country, we must speak about it without fear because it is seen, it is proven. As I speak here, the man of God standing here, seated here, comes from my constituency, but is now serving permanently in Acholi because of the beauty of the Catholic Church. I want to thank you as House for accepting and honoring.
Thank you so much. The strength in the Catholic Church in terms of the schools, the health sector, even a blind person can see. Jacob, infrastructure.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. And indeed, I would like to thank the Right Honorable Prime Minister, that's government, for this tribute. I want to add my voice, the honorable members who have praised the works of Dr. Ambrosoli. I'll just give a testimony. My father in 1971 was attacked by thugs and he got an arrow in the stomach. And then when he was taken to Hoima Hospital, he was stitched, but the operation was not so well done. In 82, he was told that his life was in danger. He was going to pass on, and the referral hospital was Kalongo. That was East Acholi that time. And indeed, the doctor who worked on him was Dr. Ambrosoli. 40 years on after that time, my father is now 85. Nothing has happened. And indeed, my father has lived praising that man of God for the care he gave him. And indeed, we should emulate his legacy. His life was a true testimony of a dedicated public servant who should be emulated by all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Bosco.
I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. And I want to say I'm really humbled to speak in such a day. Right Honorable Speaker, I have a son who is not yet baptized. And when I've listened to what has been talked about Father Ambrosoli, I actually thought of having the name Dr. Ambrosoli. But on the lighter note, Right Honorable Speaker, when I heard Honorable again called it Ambrosoli, I was thinking twice. That's on the lighter note. Right Honorable Speaker, Father Ambrosoli, there's something about him that is so unique. He told us God is love. And he said, I'm going to be the servant of his suffering people. But the most captivating of it all is the fact that he was a philanthropist, strategically looking at the happiness of others. I've looked at members of parliament here and we really deserve a hand clap for ourselves. We are philanthropists too. We have supported and donated, led by our speaker. We have continuously supported the health sector. We are walking in the shoes of Dr. Ambrosoli. It's my humble prayer that may the Lord bless the day of beatification and may his legacy live on. Thank you.
Thank you. May the legacy keep shining forever and ever. Faith.
Right Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank you very much. And I stand here to support the motion that the Prime Minister has raised concerning Father Ambrosoli on 2 accounts. One, he saved our people in Karamoja from leprosy. He removed the reproach of our people at a time when it was not nice to visit even a place of that kind. So a man like that one, only God knows what to do to him. No wonder, even after death, he prefers to stay in Karamoja. The miracle that we are celebrating him for, that is a prerequisite for beatification, happened in St. Kizito Hospital in Napak district. So by extension, I am the member of parliament representing Father Ambrosoli at death because his spirit prefers to live in Napak district. Right, Honorable.
And the spirit of the saint is going to bless all of you in this house.
Amen. Amen. Right, Honorable Speaker. I have a little appeal concerning St. Kizito Hospital where the miracle happened from. A little appeal. Bishop Guzetti appealed to the president on 13th June concerning financial support for St. Kizito Hospital, and the president okayed it. On 20th of October, Bishop Guzetti met the Prime Minister in my presence to follow up the commitment to support St. Kizito Hospital that had been overwhelmed by Right Honorable. She okayed it. And it is my appeal that we help fast track this promise so that in the memory of Father Ambrosoli, where he calls home now, the miracles that are continuing to flow. It did not end with Lucia, whose health recovered upon getting a poster of Father Ambrosoli. Many miracles have happened after that. In memory of that, I appeal that we push that promise. Thank you.
And the miracle is going to happen in this house. Angora.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also join my colleagues
to support the motion and start by thanking the Comboni missionaries. I want to thank the Comboni missionaries for identifying one of their best, that is Father Ambrosoli, and sending him to serve us here in Uganda and northern Uganda in particular. Kalongo Hospital was known to all of us when we were young. People from Tororo went to Kalongo Hospital. And whenever they talked about Kalongo, it meant that when you reached there, you just heal automatically and come back. So what Father Ambrosoli was doing is something that must be commended and commended on a very serious note. But the North has also had people who have really served to the best of their ability for the good of humanity. You will also recall Father Lukia served very well and also as among others serving in the North. I want to say that the Comboni missionaries, like other Catholic missionaries, have supported us in education, have supported us in health facilities, and really, Madam Speaker, as you said, they have done a commendable job. And how I wish we can continue to see that partnership thrive and thrive further for other support through the ambassador was here, he has left. Your Excellency, let's continue to partner and get more of these very brilliant people in Italy to come and support us such that we can continue to enjoy this good work that the Lord has blessed you with. I say all this respecta loquita, that what has been done by the Italians through Father Ambrosoli.
And Honorable Prime Minister, as we talk about the Catholic Church, there is a lot of outcry out there. The Catholic Church land, the land belonging to the Catholic Church is being grabbed. Kindly see how to protect the land that belongs to the church, because that land is for development in terms of schools, in terms of hospitals, in terms of everything. That land must be protected. No, you can't deny these people to talk. Apea.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the motion, and I would like to thank very much the Prime Minister for bringing the motion. The Father Ambrosoli works and deeds in this world brings in mind three things. One, he used his profession to spread love and serve humanity. The second thing I see, he put his faith into action. And that is what the Bible says, that let's have faith, but let us put it in action, and let us be known by the deeds or the works that we've done in this world. The third thing, Honorable Speaker, is that Dr. Ambrosoli shows you how proper planning with very meager resources can actually transform a community. This is a priest who didn't have any much resources, and he planned for the overall health system strengthening. He did not only look at treating the patients as a doctor. He planned to establish a hospital. He went ahead to think of the human resource for that hospital and establish the nurses training school. As we talk now, in the whole region, probably the whole country, very many nurses have gone through Kalongo Nurses Training School. And that tells us that as we sit in this house and we have an opportunity to plan and budget with the little resources that we have, let's think about what Dr. Ambrosoli did with the very little, very difficult environment. I'm sure they didn't have anything, but he did so much for us.
Nancy. Maneno.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank the Prime Minister for bringing that brilliant motion in this house. Right Honorable Speaker, Such people deserve to be respected forever and ever. And as we are mentioning so many words in this house, as you have said before, as members of parliament, let's contribute and do something tangible for that hospital so that our people will continue benefiting, and the children that we are also giving birth to should also benefit more and more. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Father Onen.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm a priest of the Catholic Church of the Archdiocese of Gulu. I'm happy that my bishop is right here, listening to this great deliberation by this parliament. I'm just imagining the day when this parliament will actually sit and pay tribute when I pass on. This is what I'm trying to imagine. And you better learn me before I pass on, so that next time you just know. Right Honorable Speaker, the golden legacy of of Dr. Ambrosoli need to be protected. And you know, I am Deputy Chair for Rules. And I want to move and propose a motion under Rule 161, Rule 61. I want to propose a motion that Kalon Hospital be raised to a medical university where research on tropical diseases can be done and treated. And this will make the great legacy of Dr. Kalon, Dr. Ambrosoli, to be remembered forever. And if it is in your good wisdom and you see that it is fitting, this motion, this amendment be made to the motion brought by the Right Honorable Minister, Right Honorable Prime Minister. Right Honorable Speaker.
Rule 61 is an amendment of a motion and prayers, and is moving an amendment to the prayers, and is his amendment seconded? The ayes have it. Ross? Then
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the time Father Ambrosoli served in northern Uganda was a very traumatizing moment. If you see the children he's holding, the people were so traumatized, they were in war. You'll really appreciate what we are doing right now. Right Honorable Speaker, I join the faithful in thanking Father Ambrosoli. Many who had leprosy in West Nile could not be handled in Kulva Hospital. They had to be transferred to Kalongo. I'm a Roman Catholic. 24 hours, you find me in a rosary. The Archbishop you see here is my son. I'm a grandmother to him. I'm so grateful to the Catholic Church for mentoring me with this high level of discipline. The Catholic Church has disciplined people, has always done its best in education, in health, and everything that comes with the right way. I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. That's why you have a disciplined speaker.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ryan Rob.
Then Linus, after you, Linus.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I join colleagues in thanking the Prime Minister for moving this motion, whereby we are paying tribute to the legacy of Dr. Ambrosoli. Right Honorable Speaker, when I was in P5, I had a heated argument with my teacher because we are given a question to name the National Referral Hospital in Uganda. And we are given objectives. 1A was Mulago Hospital, 2 was Lacho Hospital, and 3 was Kalon Hospital. I proudly gave my answer as Kalon Hospital. Unfortunately, the teacher marked me wrong. I was furious. I was only consoled by my mother that I was right in as far as services were concerned. Kalon was giving the best services. but I was wrong in terms of government ranking of hospital. Right, Honorable Speaker, I think with the works of Dr. Ambrosoli, it only tells us that it takes more than structures. It takes more than equipment in hospital. For a patient to be treated, you must use your profession. You must include some love in what you do. You must be kind to people. Dr. Ambrosoli knew he would not live forever. He imparted his skills to a number of other medical workers.
Linus.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. A man who left the comfort of his home in Europe to come and serve the vulnerable poor communities in Uganda must be celebrated and beautified. I want to thank Dr. Ambrosoli, the Catholic Church, for the spirit exhibited, and we shall always live to glorify him. I know very well they had challenges with governments, including our Archbishop, Dr. Ambrosoli, and Father John Scalabrini, who presided over my wedding, but we ask for forgiveness. I ask for forgiveness on behalf of government. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. We want this House to recognize and appreciate the contribution that Dr. Ambrosoli rendered to this country. And I believe with your wise wisdom and guidance, we shall achieve that. Thank you. May the good Lord bless you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to add my voice to the Prime Minister for bringing this motion into the House. Dr. Ambrosoli.
Now, reduce to 1 minute. Archbishop wants to go back to Gulu.
Dr. Ambrosoli has shown all of us that we are miracle makers. We do not have to wait for powers in order to turn water into wine or to raise the dead to come back into the living. All he showed us was that we have to be kind to people and be givers to the community, and that is enough to make us miracle doers. And that is something that I think as a lesson we can all be able to get from. But we should not forget also that the doctor also started his good deeds before he came to Uganda. He started before the World War II, and he actually saved so many Jewish people and took them into Switzerland. So he started his work actually before even coming to Uganda, and I'd like to thank him very much for his good deeds that he did to our country. Thank you very much.
Shiloh.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'd love to spend my 1 minute carefully and properly. One, to appreciate Parliament and specifically you for giving the very famous person this time. Not everybody gets this opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, those who do good indeed will reap good things. And I know this Parliament has the power to appropriate. The budgeting process is just on. It is starting now. What is it that we are going to do for Kalongo? That is the question. Let us not be people who supply air. Let us supply something. I beg to move.
Thank you so much, Judy, Gilbert, Rita.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to speak for and on behalf of the people I represent, Nwaya District, and on behalf of the women of this country. Right Honorable Speaker, as we celebrate the life of Dr. Father Joseph Ambrosoli, he supported the women of this country. Ambrosoli was born in Italy. Ambrosoli moved to Kalongo in 1956 to serve in health department. And at that particular time, Ambrosoli found Kalongo was at the dispensary stage. And by the time he left, he passed on. It was at the level of a hospital.
A referral hospital.
A referral hospital in making. Madam Speaker, Dr. Ambrosoli moved from Italy, went to Kalongo, but he died in Lira. So many of us from different parts of this country received medical support in Kalongo Hospital, from Western Uganda, from Eastern, from North, and from Central. I want to thank our bishop. I sat in the committee within Kampala for this celebration, and I thank the president for his contribution for construction of a maternity ward in Kalongo Hospital. And I want to sincerely.
We are thanking the Archbishop, not the bishop.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to appreciate the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition for seconding this very important motion. Right Honourable Speaker, Dr. Ambrosoli dreamed for a better medical services in northern Uganda and Uganda as a whole. Right Honourable Speaker, surprisingly, as we talk now, the whole of northern Uganda does not have a CT scan. I remember from last year, Dr. Archbishop John Baptist Odama, who is here, he was asking the Christians to contribute 1,000 shillings, 2,000, 5,000 to buy a CT scan in northern Uganda. Right, Honourable Speaker, the gift that the government can give in memory of Dr. Ambrosoli. Let us move as Parliament at least to buy a CT scan, right, Honourable Speaker, in one of the hospitals in northern Uganda. Even if it will not be put in Kalongo, we have no problem. But let at least one of the hospitals in northern Uganda have a CT scan.
Honorable members, at least the information I have from the former Minister of Health, that the CT scan, the government is working together with the, give us information. No, I am waiting for your motion after about 5 people.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, allow me first of all, we would not be debating this motion if it wasn't for the concession by Pope Francis. I want to thank Pope Francis for his concession and allowing Gulu Archdiocese.
At least for Papa.
Yes, so we need to appreciate him for that. Secondly, Right Honourable Speaker, in the interest of time, we have neighbors suffering everywhere. If each one of us cared for our neighbors, we would be at peace. There would be no war in any part of this world. That is what is lacking. We are told, Right Honourable Speaker, that whatsoever you do to the least of your brothers, that you do unto me. So let's take that message seriously. If it is alcohol destroying our people, let's speak up. Let's not shy away from talking about it. And lastly, Right Honourable Speaker, you have asked me to give an update. I am aware, Right Honourable Speaker, that the Ministry of Health, working with the partners, the Netherlands government, is planning to equip all regional referral hospitals with all the necessary equipment. And this is actually, installation has come, it's already ongoing. So, it has already, yes, that is an update, Right Honourable Speaker, that the process is almost near. Yes, it has started. Moroto has received So other regional referral hospitals will have. Not as every hospital can have a CT scan because you will lack the personnel to actually operate it. So that's the information that I wanted to give. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Now let me give your neighbor to speak first before, you give the suffering neighbors. The neighbor, Kasese. Rita, you'll speak after the neighbor.
Madam Speaker, I really want to thank you for the opportunity. And I want to thank you for giving space for this very important motion. Madam Prime Minister, thank you very much. My boss, the LOP, thank you very much for seconding this very important message, motion. And to the family of the doctor, and I think me as a Catholic, for a family to give out their son to go and serve God globally, first of all, it is a sacrifice in itself. And I want to thank the family back in for the opportunity for giving us the best son. I want to also thank my brothers and my sisters from the northern part of Uganda for allowing our priest have the base that he could, because you supporting him, certainly this motion wouldn't have come to fruition. Madam Speaker, I really want to thank you, and I ask that everything that has been mentioned in the motion, Madam Prime Minister, you're here.
Gilbert, first come back, the motion is coming. We are putting a question, come back.
Yes. The request in your motion, Madam Prime Minister and Mr. Lope, I know that we, the Speaker and the Chair, will follow this to the dot. Much appreciated,
Thank
Madam
you,
Speaker.
Rita. Rita.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I stand to equally add my word to the achievement that as Uganda we have attained. We continue to be many firsts, many good things that happen to Uganda, even when many times we may not celebrate them. So I'm very happy that this has happened to us and we are here to celebrate. But also to say that faith without action is dead. That is James 2:14. And this gives us time to reflect that whereas all these good things have happened, what are the small things that we have done in our small ways? It also tells us in a good hymn that when I was hungry, you gave me what to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me what to drink. So I think today we are here for the works of Father Giuseppe, for what he did for himself. Probably what is it we have done for ourselves that God will reward us. Right, Honorable? I would like to end highlighting that right now, the partnership of government and the Catholic Church is good, but my archdiocese is under attack, Right Honorable Prime Minister. The land at the headquarters of Nyamitanga Diocese, we woke up and the certain soldier brought bulldozers in the night, just right behind the Archbishop's house. So I want to use this opportunity to implore you, and thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, that if there is anything to be done, we need the bishop to sleep soundly and to restore that piece of land. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much. As I said, we shall know them by their works, by their deeds. Now we are celebrating, we are debating because of the deeds of Dr. Charles.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. As a born-again believer and a pastor, I want to recommend the work of the Catholic Church. And when Speaker granted the permission to the Saba Christo and the Hajj, I prayed harder that also pastor is granted. Thank you so much. Right Honorable Speaker, in Proverbs chapter 14, verses 23, those who work hard make profit, but those who only talk will be poor. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg that amidst the works, amidst the words we talk, we should add on work. Right Honorable Speaker, in Proverbs chapter 10, the treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivers from death. We should all, I beg a second, we should always do goodness in order to be profitable at our time when we were past.
Thank
I
you.
beg to submit.
Thank you, Mama Ketch.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Allow me to assent to the motion on the floor. Right Honorable Speaker, there was a time when hate was being preached in Northern
1
Uganda.
minute.
There was a time when women were being raped by the LRA rebel. And in that particular time, we had no psychologists or counselors to help these particular women. There was only one person, Dr. Joseph. Dr. Joseph was the only rehabilitation center to operate in Northern Uganda that saw our fathers not revenge against the LRA. It's only wise that at this particular moment, when many youths in Northern Uganda are suffering from addiction without any rehabilitation center, as we commemorate, as we ascend to the beatification of Dr. Joseph, I request the government to at least construct one rehabilitation center to help the youth in Northern Uganda that are suffering from alcohol and cannabis use. I beg to submit. Thank you very much.
I also remember how the Archbishop Odama would go and risk his life to meet the rebels. When I was growing up in Golo, Archbishop, I'm looking forward for a time when we'll pay tribute to thank the living people, not the dead ones. Flavia?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we are remembering the life of a great man in the Catholic Church who inspired love, selflessness, and servant leadership. As leaders in this country, what do we learn from such a person? We need to continue giving ourselves as servants to the people, not bosses of the people. We need to go down to the level where we listen to people, we commune with them, we commemorate with them, we empathize with them. And I think for me, these are key lessons to all of us, that we continue reflecting on the life of such a wonderful man. And we thank God that in his life, he gave his faith for Christ so that we could all be able to emulate something good from him. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Papa Francis.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Speaker, as a person who almost became a priest, as a servant of the people of Buweju, I want to support the motion. But too, we have had instances where people say, I cannot work in Buweju because it is hard to stay. I cannot work in such a village, it is hard to reach. They need hard to reach allowance to work in some areas. This is a lesson to us, that you can even work where there is no money, that you can be a missionary. I want to salute the life of this servant of God and also pray that his life reigns and reigns forever. Thank you very much.
Honorable Ward.
Thank you.
Ekanya.
Thank you very
Margaret.
much, Right Honorable Speaker. I am so happy and add on to what people have said about the Venerable Father Dr. Ambrosoli. You see, he's an example to very many of us Ugandans. Do we do the same? This was a man from a very well-to-do country, a very well-to-do family, and yet he gave his whole life to save and to serve the people, the poor people of the North. And he even opened up institutions for those people, the lepers, people with leprosy. That's which people, our people could not think of. But for him, he said, instead of segregating people and neglecting them probably to die on their own, he decided to establish centers for them.
Ekanya, Margaret.
Thank you very much, Madam Honorable Speaker. I want to thank.
Ekanya is making a maiden speech.
Thank you very much, Madam Honorable Speaker. Madam Honorable Speaker, you made commitment when you met the Holy Father, that you do everything possible to ensure that this parliament is a parliament that fears God. We want to thank you very much for granting us this opportunity. Madam Honorable Speaker, we are in this parliament. We are now representing the people of Uganda. And when we talk about the works of a man of God, a man who was a doctor, medical doctors are next to God. Because before we die, you have to pass through a hand of medical doctor. Madam Honorable Speaker, in memory of the works of Father Ambrosoli, I want to propose that.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, I want to move an amendment that we create a digital library that will be updated to continuously remember the works of Father Ambrosoli in this country and in other parts of the world. I beg to move, Madam Speaker.
Is it seconded? The amendment is made. Margaret?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I also want to second the motion made by the Prime Minister. Right Honorable Speaker, the Bible says, train a child the way to go when he's still young, so that when they grow up, they cannot depart from that way. So to me, I want to take this opportunity to appreciate the parents of Dr. Ambrosoli, because if he had not been brought up well, possibly I would not be talking about him. And now it is a question to us as members of parliament, as parents in this country, how do we upbring our children? If you put good values in them, then they will be of help to this country and the rest of the world. But if you do not care about how you raise up your children, then at the end of the day, nobody will not even know about them. I want to say that we should totally move this motion and congratulate the parents.
Hajat Hanifa?
I want to join my colleagues, to remember Father Ambrosoli. You forgive me.
Dr. Joseph.
Dr. Joseph, for his humanitarian heart. And the lesson I want to learn, or all of us should learn, is that to be humanitarian, and whatever the case, he was a doctor and went to a far-reached place in the northern region, whereby for us here, when they tell us about northern, it's a hard-to-reach area. And he managed to stay there, live with the people there, treat the people there, treated them in such a way of a humanitarian heart. So I thank God for.
Christine?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, in remembrance of Dr. Joseph Ambrosoli, we would like to thank him for serving the suffering. Sometimes we even want to allocate a lot of money to items to enable us to work comfortably. Look at the zebra crossing. It is enough for us members to come to Parliament and serve, so that we save some money for the suffering. So I'd like to thank, in memory, our Dr. Joseph for having worked for the suffering. It is not all that very simple to achieve a lot in such an area, in such a condition. Very difficult to identify progress. But we are here to thank God for his life. And in the Catholic faith, we say, Saint Ambrosoli, pray for us.
Thank you, Karim.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to pay tribute. I thank the Prime Minister and the Leader of Opposition for bringing forward this motion. I will remember Father Ambrosoli for being selfless, for being so selfless. And I believe perhaps he even loved people, or he loved us more than he loved himself. Some time back, I read one article about his life and his legacy while in Uganda. And one of the things I read was before his death in March 1987, he was diagnosed with a kidney disease. But after being diagnosed, he was advised by his doctors to go and seek treatment and stop working, but he decided to go on and work, despite the fact that he was sick. So this shows that he wanted to help people instead of him being helped. So
Thank you.
may his legacy live on.
A motion? There is a motion.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, as I thank His Holiness Pope Francis, the Catholic Church, the government of Uganda, and the Right Honorable Prime Minister, and more especially you, Madam Speaker, for giving us the Parliament of Uganda this time to pay tribute to Venerable Ambrosoli. Right Honorable Speaker, I move a motion that, having listened, the debate be closed and we put the question. I beg to move.
Is that seconded? Honor. With the amendments? Honorable members, if you've, I know the Prime Minister wants to say something. You've heard all that has been talked about. Dr. Joseph has gave selfless service that we need to borrow. Even if we borrowed just 2% of it, selfless service to the people of Uganda, to humanity. He was so humane, down to earth. Some of us, when you're in these positions, you feel you've reached heaven. Let's be servants of our suffering neighbors. We have so many neighbors suffering, so many people. Let's be servants. We are here to serve the people. Let's not be the VIPs that we call ourselves. Let's be the servants of the suffering neighbors. And we should, as the Bible says, we will know them by their deeds. We may be here saying we are going to do A, B, C, D, but we shall know you by your works. Prime Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank everybody, other colleagues, for your contribution towards my motion. And I want to inform Right Honorable Minister, the members of this August House,
I am
that government.
Right Honorable Speaker,
Sorry.
not Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm sorry. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to inform this August House that government pledged 1.3 billion towards the celebrations and the renovation of this hospital. And it has been fulfilled to date. It has been fulfilled. All the central roads to Kalongo, they have been done. And some are still being worked on. Yes, work is still going on. So I want to, work is still going on. Therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to invite all the honorable members of this August House to attend the celebrations. I thank you for God and my country.
Honorable Prime Minister, thank you so much for the money. The money from the President, the 800 million has been already reflected on the account. It's already on the account. The 500 coming from gender should be reflected by end of tomorrow. So we want to thank you so much. However, the roads to the place where the function is going to take place is impassable. The road is impassable. So the Prime Minister, as you invite all of us to go there, can you kindly work on the road? We don't want further accidents. Then you come and pay tribute when people have died. Right Honorable Speaker, the road is being worked on, and by that day it will be ready. Thank you. Minister of Monitoring, can you monitor and give a feedback to this house?
Most obliged, Right Honorable.
Tuesday, give us a feedback.
Thank,
Okay, give me a feedback.
I will
by
give you,
end of
Right
tomorrow.
Honorable. I will give you.
Give me a feedback by end of tomorrow. Just to call, we shall post it on the forum, on the position of the road. We want to thank Archbishop and the team for sincerely spending the whole day with us here. We just don't take it for granted. And we have the Pope's representative here. I know you have blessed all of us in this house, and we received a blessing. And we want to thank you so much for the initiative. And as the Catholic community, the Catholics in Uganda, we are forever grateful. Honorable members, I now put a question that this house adopts a motion for resolution of Parliament to pay tribute to Venerable Ambrosoli, professed member of the Comboni Missionaries of the Heart of Jesus, a medical doctor and educator. On this occasion of beatification, those in favor say aye, and to a contrary aye. The ayes have it, and we will extract the resolutions of this house and forward them over to the Archbishop, and all the things that we promised in this house will be implemented. With all the amendments will be implemented. I know this house loves the Catholic Church so much. Government loves the Catholic Church. That's why you find the Vice President is a Catholic, Prime Minister is a Catholic, a Speaker is a Catholic, Leader of Opposition is a Catholic. Everybody, we want to thank you so much, and may the good Lord take you back safely as you travel back to the northern region. Thank you. I now therefore adjourn the house to Tuesday at 2. Honorable members, the law was confusing me. I am adjourning the house to 2 tomorrow. And as I said before, tomorrow we have an item. Action taken. Can you sit down? Not to you, Bishop. Action taken reports. Tomorrow we are debating on that. So all the ministers where reports were made should be in the house and respond to whatever action they have taken on all the reports. We adjourn the house to 2 tomorrow.